In early summer of 2014, I started looking for a new competition horse. I wanted a project between the ages of 4 and 8, something that I could ideally start showing in the jumper ring in about a year. When I came across Milo's ad on the SPCA website, he was listed as a yearling and his name at the time was Bandit. Something about his ad spoke to me and I knew I had to see him. His location was not listed in the ad, all I knew was that he was in the same province as me. I told my mom that we had to see him, even if it involved a road trip. Luck was with me and he was located very close to us. We went to see him a few days later. Another potential adopter was supposed to come see him at the same time, but Luck was with us again and they did not show up. Upon seeing him, I noticed that he was very skittish, but extremely curious. He was a beautiful mover and had a cute face. That's all we knew of him, basically, since he was barely even halter broke, and very skinny still, so we couldn't really get a good idea of his build. We filled out an adoption application and were accepted. He came home a few days later. Milo was very difficult at first. He did not want to be caught. We couldn't blanket him. He was very head shy. He'd randomly stop and plant his feet while leading. Bringing the hose or fly spray near him would result in rearing. He was very stubborn. Something as simple as lunging took him a month to pick up on, because he was so stubborn and would bolt or stop and plant his feet, refusing to move. I wanted to give up on him and was ready to sell him. Luckily, my mom took over handling him for a few days to give me a break. After that, things were a bit less rocky. As Milo got healthier, he started to feel a lot better and became more difficult to handle, especially as the colder months came. He would bolt, then hit the end of his lead and kick out. He kicked me twice and my mom once. Leading him a couple of feet was a difficult task. He was so hard to manage at times. After the winter, things got better. He learned how to contain himself more and was more trusting of us. Because of this, he became more willing to do what we asked of him. We had spent a lot of the previous summer and the past winter getting him used to saddling and bridling, and preparing him to be started under saddle. When the spring came and he turned 3, I started the breaking process myself. It was pretty easy to start under saddle and there were no fireworks, which was slightly shocking based upon how he'd been when we'd introduced other new things to him. I was embarrassed though. I felt too big on him and I worried for our future together. I thought that I'd look ridiculous at shows. My vet reaffirmed my concerns by telling me that he did not believe Milo would exceed 15 two-hands. He also said that he thought Milo would be very dainty and that while he could carry me comfortably, I may look too tall for showing. Despite this, I continued his training myself, preparing him to eventually sell him to a capable young rider if I had to, though I did not want to. As I started to ask more of him under saddle and he became fitter, Milo also became more spirited. He had always loved to bronc at liberty, and as the weather cooled down again, he started testing his acrobatics with the rider on. This is how I really developed a good seat and learned how to really ride. Once again, I survived the winter, although he did throw me a couple times. As spring came, he became a better horse, and he was much more manageable. Over the winter, Milo had grown up a lot. He really started filling out and had grown past the vet's prediction of 15-2 and had hit 16 hands. I was ecstatic. As we celebrated his 4th birthday, I started him over fences. We jumped little cross rails once a week or once every 2 weeks. Milo showed he had a ton of athleticism. I was very excited. I also fine-tuned our bridle-less riding abilities, even going without the neck rope at times. Although he had matured both physically and mentally, Milo was still spirited, especially at shows. As we tried to get into the jumper ring, I realized showing him over fences would be no easy task. New jumps frightened him, and he was very prone to refusals and bucking after fences. But the only way to overcome this was to get him out to shows, so that's exactly what I did. Milo had always had a big personality, but the more we got to know each other and the more we did, the more it came out. He had become such an amazingly fun and entertaining horse, my soulmate. His 5-year-old year has been his best year yet. Milo has matured a ton and grown into an incredible horse. He is pretty much unrecognizable in comparison to the skinny, pencil-necked horse of the past, and I most definitely do not look big on him. Even at shows, he's improved a ton, and while he will still be looky at fences and will buck or refuse at times, the difference between now and even January 2017 is like night and day. I know it will only continue to get better from here. I will continue to give him the benefit of the doubt because I know he was not handled at all, or at least kindly, until he was 2 years old. Because of this, he is a very different horse than the typical handled horse. Milo is one of a kind, and I'm so happy that I took a chance on him. Even when we hit hard times, I know that he's my once-in-a-lifetime horse, and seeing his transformation and the horse that he has become is a huge source of pride for me. He is my heart, and I am so happy he came into my life. Milo has helped shape me as an equestrian and as a person, and has offered me so many wonderful opportunities. I wouldn't trade him for the world.